Today's video will be about dividing decimals. Okay, so this is just a handy chart for you to remember if you're dividing a decimal by something even like 10, 100, or 1000. So if you're dividing these numbers, you just have to move your decimal and then you're done. So here at the top it says 12.33 divided by 10. So our chart tells us to move our decimal one spot to the left. And so we're moving it from behind the 2 to behind the 1. The answer is not correct. Okay, so the answer that it has listed, 12.33 divided by 10, should be 1.233. Okay, so that slide is incorrect because you move the decimal from between the 2 and the 3s, right behind the 2, and you move it one spot to the left. So now it should be between the 1 and the 2. Okay, so that's where the decimal should go because it says divide by 10, move the decimal point to the left one place. Okay, the second example, 0.367 divided by 100. So you're going to move the decimal 2 places to the left because for 100 it says move it 2 places to the left. So they moved the decimal 2 spots to the left and had to fill in one of those as a 0. So now our answer is 0.00367, and that one is correct. The third one, 9.73. Okay, and so now we are dividing by 1000. So it says move the decimal spot 3 spots to the left. And that answer is also not correct. Because the answer they have, 0.973, they only move the decimal spot 1 spot to the left. But with 1000, it should be moved 3 spots to the left. So our answer for the third one should be 0.00973. Okay, the answer they have listed there is not correct. And then our last one, 635 divided by 10. So we're going to move that 1 spot to the left because we're dividing by 10. The decimal spot on a whole number hangs out behind the last number. So in 635, the decimal point is behind the 5. And we're going to move it 1 spot to the left. So now it's going to be between the 3 and the 5. So that answer is correct. Your final answer is 63.5. So just make sure you're careful when you're moving the spots to the left. That's the correct number because, again, in this example, the first one and the third one do not have the correct answers. Okay, so here we have some steps to divide a decimal by a whole number. So it says here, find the quotient 42.33 divided by 3. So on the math we have here on the right in the red, the 42.33 goes on the inside of the division house because it's the number that's listed first. It does not go inside because it's the bigger number. In this case, it just happens to be the bigger number, but whichever number is listed first goes inside. So step 1, write the decimal point in the quotient directly above the decimal point in the dividend. So where it says 42.33, you put the decimal point directly above it. On top of the line between the 4 and the 1. We wouldn't have that answer yet, obviously. But you put the decimal point on top so that as you divide, everything is lined up correctly. And then it says divide the same way you would divide whole numbers. It's the exact same way. You're going to take your 3. It goes into 4 one time. You write the 1 on the top. You multiply 1 by 3. You get 3 down underneath the 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. You're going to bring down your 2. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12, so 12 minus 12 is 0. You're going to bring down the 3 all the way. 3 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. And then bring down your final 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3, so you subtract that out and get 0. Okay? So it says the steps here are divide. So 3 goes into 14. Into 4 once. Then you're going to multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. You're going to subtract 4 minus 3 is 1. And then you're going to bring down the next number. Okay. So always put the decimal point in the quotient above the decimal in the dividend. So you should have a decimal point inside of the division house and on top of it so you can make sure everything is lined up. Here are some notes if you needed to divide a decimal by a decimal. So here it says find the quotient 4.08 divided by 0.24. So here it says multiply the divisor, which is the number on the outside, by a power of 10 to make it a whole number. Okay, so we're going to change 0.24 into 24 by multiplying it by 100. Or the way I do it is I know if we have 0.24, we didn't make that a whole number, so I'm going to move my decimal 2 spots to the right and make that a 24. And then I need to do the same thing to the 4.08. So I'm going to move my decimal spot 2 spots to the right on the inside number also. And so now that's going to turn into 408. Just like with the last problem, you're going to put your decimal spot, your decimal point on top of your division house also to make sure everything lines up. And then you're going to divide. So this is turned in from 4.08 divided by 0.24 to now it is 408 divided by 24. And since you've moved the decimals 2 spots on the outside and 2 spots on the inside, you're going to get the same number, the same answer as you would with the decimals. Okay, so now we have 24. It cannot go into 4, so now we're going to go to 40. 24 goes into 40 once, put that on top. 1 times 24 is 24. 40 minus 24 is 16. You're going to bring down your 8, so now you have 168. Apparently 7 times 24 is 168. So now you're going to subtract that out and get 0. Okay, so your answer for this is going to be 17. Now, when you have the 7 times 24, again, I don't expect you to automatically know, like, oh, 24 goes into 168 7 times. Like, it's okay if you don't know that off the top of your head. I definitely wouldn't. So on the side of your paper, you can do 24 times 5. You find out that's too small. You do 24 times 8. You find out that's too big. And then finally, you figure out that 7 is the magic number. Plug in, and that's fine. So you, again, can work on this on the side, kind of like do your math as you go, and then once you figure it out, voila, there you go.